There's a strange moment that happens to almost everyone trying to change their life. You wake up one morning, full of intention. You tell yourself, this time will be different. You'll work out, study, eat clean, wake early, stay consistent. But a few days later, the motivation fades. The energy that once felt like fire turns to smoke. You start negotiating with yourself, maybe I'll rest today and try again tomorrow. And before you know it, tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes never. It's not that you're lazy, it's that your brain was never designed to enjoy discipline. For most of human history, the brain's primary goal was survival, not success. It rewards comfort because comfort once meant safety. Pain, discomfort, uncertainty, these signaled danger. So, when you choose to run in the cold, work in silence, or study when you'd rather scroll, your brain doesn't see growth. It sees threat, and it does what it's programmed to do. It resists. That resistance isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that your brain is still living in the past, in a world where surviving the night mattered more than becoming extraordinary. But here's the paradox. In our modern world, comfort is the new danger. Every tap of dopamine, every distraction, every easy escape makes you softer, not safer. So the goal isn't to fight your brain. It's to trick it. To trick your brain isn't manipulation. It's understanding its rules so deeply that you can play them in your favor. Think of it like this. Your mind is a child that loves rewards and avoids punishment. So stop trying to bully it into obedience, and instead, train it through association. For example, when you finish a hard workout, don't immediately rush to the next task. Pause. Breathe. Tell yourself, this is who I want to be. Your brain records that feeling of pride as a reward. Do it enough times, and it starts craving that feeling. The dopamine that once came from scrolling now comes from consistency. You've hacked the loop. Because discipline isn't about fighting desire, it's about redirecting it. Motivation is like caffeine. It gives you a spark, but it burns out fast. Discipline, on the other hand, is like gravity, quiet, constant, and always pulling you forward. But here's what most people get wrong. They wait to feel disciplined before they act. That's like waiting to feel strong before you lift the weight. The act itself creates the feeling. When you show up, tired, bored, uninspired, you're teaching your brain a new rule. We don't need to feel good to do what's right. And over time, your brain adapts. The resistance softens. You start feeling proud, not just for the result, but for showing up when you didn't want to. That pride becomes addictive. That's when discipline becomes natural. Every person who's ever achieved greatness has learned this secret. Pleasure and pain are not opposites. They are twins. The pain of waking up early becomes the pleasure of self-respect. The pain of working out becomes the pleasure of strength. The pain of focus becomes the pleasure of mastery. The problem isn't that you hate pain. It's that you haven't linked it to growth. When you feel that discomfort, don't interpret it as punishment. See it as proof that you're rewiring something old, breaking an ancient pattern your ancestors never questioned. Pain is no longer danger. Pain is data, and data means you're evolving. Inside your head, there are two voices. The first says, rest, scroll, relax, you've done enough. The second whispers, do the hard thing, even when no one's watching. Most people think discipline is about silencing the first voice. It's not. True discipline is about training which voice you obey. The lazy voice never disappears. It just gets quieter when you stop feeding it. Each time you choose action over excuse, you starve it a little more. Over weeks, months, years, it loses power. And the quiet voice that once sounded like a whisper becomes the one that leads your life. Here's the real trick. Don't try to enjoy discipline for its own sake. Enjoy who you become because of it. The brain doesn't chase pain, it chases identity. If you link discipline with suffering, you'll resist it forever. But if you link it with becoming your ideal self, confident, sharp, unbreakable, your brain starts craving it. That's why affirmations fail for most people. You can't tell your brain, "I love waking up early," when it knows you don't. But you can tell it, "Each time I wake up early, I prove I can trust myself." That's believable. That's powerful. Because self-trust is the real dopamine. Think of discipline like a flywheel. At first, it takes enormous effort to move. You push, and nothing seems to happen. But eventually, it turns, slowly, then faster. Then, it spins on its own. Momentum is built through repetition, not intensity. One disciplined act per day is infinitely better than a burst of effort followed by collapse. Every repetition ingrains the identity of a disciplined person. And once identity takes over, effort fades. You don't try to be disciplined anymore. You just are. People often say, discipline is about balance. But balance doesn't mean equal comfort. It means being so rooted in your purpose that even when life pulls you off center, you return faster each time. It's not about working non-stop. It's about not letting comfort become your master. You can rest, but never retreat. You can slow down, but never stop. Because every time you stop completely, your brain forgets the rhythm, and restarting becomes hell. So instead of chasing perfect balance, chase consistency. Because consistency is where identity is forged. There comes a moment, weeks or months into your journey, when something shifts. You wake up, and for the first time, the hard thing doesn't feel hard. The resistance is still there, but it's quieter. You don't rely on motivation anymore. You don't negotiate. You just do. And that's when you realize, you don't find discipline. You become it. That quiet confidence, that calm self-respect, it's not arrogance. It's alignment. You've tricked your brain into seeing discipline as peace. Neuroscience shows that your brain rewards whatever you repeat. Habits create neural grooves, mental pathways that strengthen with use. At first, discipline feels forced because the groove is shallow. But every repetition deepens it. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you're literally reshaping your brain. That's neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. You're not only changing your habits, you're changing your hardware. So if discipline feels unnatural, good. That means you're building something new. You're not failing, you're under construction. 11. The new definition of discipline. Discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect in action. It's saying, I'm worthy of my potential, even when it's uncomfortable. It's not about grinding endlessly or suppressing emotion. It's about mastering emotion, feeling the fear, the boredom, the frustration, and still doing what needs to be done. Because freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. Freedom comes from having control over yourself. Maybe the reason you've struggled with discipline is because you've always viewed it as a battle, you versus your mind. But what if it's not a war? What if it's a relationship? You and your mind learning to trust each other again. You showing it that pain isn't always danger, that effort can lead to peace, that consistency is safety. That's the real trick. to make your brain fall in love with growth. And once it does, discipline stops being something you force. It becomes something you feel pulled toward. That's when you stop chasing motivation and start living in alignment. Stay disciplined. Stay aware.